There are exceptions. In a way where you don't have
Some of the work that I've done in the class. Have her tell you about her thesis. What other institutions are present in that moment?
Time, it also pushes back, it pushes away. The kids will go.
You should write that down because that's a big idea. I'm not sure where it's going to go in your paper, if at all, but you want to get. At Fannie Lou, I really feel as if I am allowing the students to build something for themselves. It's making sure that the PBATs grow out of actual work that we've done in class. Students took my full semester course on the civil rights movement and write a short paper on that topic. And then we end the semester with just several weeks of working on the PBATs, and the kids choose which topic they want to expand so that they start with this very solid base. And it's a lot of carving out time to conference with kids, but also a lot of giving kids strategies to write independently.
They come up with an idea or they pick a topic first.
I wanted to do something on economics. I had a few ideas in mind. I gave the kids a few options. We voted. Black capitalism was one of those options. At the beginning, Keisha, like almost all the students, were really for the concept of black capitalism. They thought, okay, this is the answer. This is how we have to move forward. The paper really represents Keisha sorting through some of the questions that she's sort of trying to figure out how all of these pieces fit together. I think that struggle is why we want kids to do big writing projects, as opposed to just producing something perfect. It's the process that we really want.
I feel like I saw that in the paper. What does the English rubric say? A mind at work. When you take an exam, like a Regents exam, you're sort of learning these facts for a score. But when you read something that you had no idea about and you talk about it with other people and you come up with your own idea about it and you try to express that idea in writing and your peers read it and your teacher reads it, you recognize that you matter and that your voice matters, but you also understand what history is. You've engaged in the very real process of what historians do.
Hi, my name is Keisha.
Felisa, nice to meet you, Keisha.
Keisha's going to give a short, maybe 10-minute presentation of her paper and her ideas, and then we're just going to have a conversation.
President Nixon was actually the one that created the term Black capitalism. Black capitalism is the idea of Black people generating wealth through businesses, ownership, and just getting assets. So my thesis on Can Black Capitalism Work is the idea that Black capitalism cannot work because Black people don't have existing capital. One of the books that I found myself going really deep into it is called The Whiteness of Wealth by Dorothy A. Brown. So this book is basically goes over how the tax system impoverishes Black Americans and how we can fix it. At first, it was very difficult to kind of understand and read because the words or the language that she uses in particular are like languages that I've never seen in my life. Like I've never sit down and read a book about the taxation system. The GI Bill and FHA bill, they were not extended to Black Americans who pay taxes. Getting school fees, housing, books, all of these things, they weren't being extended to Black Americans. In the Real Roots of Capitalism, it says that using capitalism to fix the racial wealth gap will only work if there is a means to transfer capital, assets, wealth, or housing. And I do not think that Black capitalism is doing all of those four things that we need to do to fix the racial wealth gap.
Can you talk about why you chose your examples about the tax systems, Nixon's opportunity zones, and Tulsa?
The Tulsa Massacre happened in 1923, and it was called the Black Wall Street. It was a prospering community filled with many businesses, many lawyers, doctors, and what happened is that in 1923, a white angry mob came in and basically burned the whole city down. And till this day, there has been no reparations or anything at all to kind of like diminish that wealth gap that was created by this incident.
I was just wondering if you had researched any potential solutions.
California has actually started implementing reparations, meaning that it can be done and that it's not something that's too far away from reality. Reparations is not only about giving money or giving things. Multiple reparation is also about reconstructing the way the tax system is built.
If there were to be reparations, do you think then that Black and brown people could participate successfully in capitalism?
There is no Black capitalism. It's capitalism in general. And I think that if equity does happen, if there are reparations, then the idea of capitalism, it can end up benefiting Black people.
I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about what you took away from this experience in terms of how you approach researching, making an argument, writing up an argument for a wider audience.
I think the main takeaway is that I had to really understand both arguments. If there's no like rebuttal, if like somebody doesn't like push back, I think that sometimes it's not as strong as it can be. Sometimes when you do listen to other people, maybe your opinion changes, maybe your argument becomes stronger. That aspect of it made me like really understand what it is that I want to say and what I don't want to say.
I was impressed by how much reading she had done. Obviously, Aaron had set up the course in a way, so that there was a lot of rich reading, and I can see how he supported her so that she wasn't out there researching sort of blindly.
So I suppose we need to evaluate. Do you want to start with viewpoint and thesis?
That band where it talks about argument, there was just this beautiful marrying of voice and argument where she spoke about the Warren legislation, the idea that there is space to write in a way to say what you want the way you want to say it, to lead your reader through an evolving argument is it's like a powerful technique, and I think it speaks to like that's her own organization.
That's right. She definitely did not play it safe here.
No.
In many cases, they viewed this as an impossible task before they did it.
The most important thing I think that I have to teach students is to have confidence. They need to know that they can read and think critically about what they read. They can take a risk and hypothesize something, and that they can talk about their academic thinking and their opinions with other people. She knew her paper. She could point to even specific quotes at times in her paper to make her point in response to our questions.
Her excitement about this topic made me excited and really had me start thinking about what I do and things that I say about this topic. So I think that's really the most important part of this, is this like real conversation that comes out of this.
It's not just the academic and real world learning they get from this kind of process and discussion. It's also that social, emotional, who I am as a human being that students become empowered by.
I would like you to reflect a little bit about how you think this whole process went. What do you think really went well for you? And what do you think you would change if you ever had a chance to do this again?
I think the most challenging part of my presentation was finding a way to condense everything that I had to say in a short amount of time. I had to shorten 20 pages to 10, and that was already hard. I think that I did very well in explaining my evidence, my reasoning, and bringing it all together to my thesis.
You're really intrigued and driven by this inquiry. You passed this PBAT exam, and you did it with some immense distinction.
And this piece of writing, joins the conversation that we have in history.
Working with Keisha on this paper was a very long process. It was arduous, it was complicated.
It was really clear that she spent dozens and dozens, maybe over 100 hours in researching and really reading all those books. Like, it was really clear what an expert she was.
The strength of the social studies PBATs is that the student gets to feel what it's like to do history. This process that we use in the consortium is really like a training ground in being part of a democracy and engaging in our world.
When I was reading the Whiteness of Both, I realized that that's not the case. Black capitalism is not. I think that Fannie Lou's way of writing papers was a stepping stone for me. It's not about memorizing, or it's not about you being able to recite something from a text. I mean, I wrote my paper like a year ago. I did not look at my paper before this interview, and I think that there's still many things that I remember from it. People who go to like those schools that are very test heavy or like are all about testing and testing, they focus a lot more on there's one right solution. How do we get to that right solution? I think of the root of the problem, what caused the problem, how do we fix that? Coming into college, I had to be like, it's okay if you like sit down with a teacher and say you don't understand this and you don't get this, or you need this to be explained. You don't need to get stuff right away. I remember in Aaron's class talking to Aaron and saying, I don't understand this.
How do I do this? I don't know how to shorten this. Can you help me? And I think it's something so simple as asking for help that can make the dramatic difference. The biggest thing that the PBATs have taught me was to critical think and analyze. True critical thinking is when you can actually, with everything that's happening in the world, look at that and say, I can form my own opinion about that, and this is my stand, and this is why.